Hey, what's up, guys? Going to be showing you today how to replace a valve cover gasket on 2008 Toyota Tacoma. I've got the 4-cylinder model stick shift, so if you have the 6-cylinder automatic, I don't know that this video is going to be much help. So let's dive in. So I got a 2008, bought it in 2009, have put about 200,000 miles on it since then. Finally started leaking a little bit of oil, so replaced the PCV valve and the valve cover gasket, and that seems to have helped it. It's about a 4-hour job, so not too bad. I had a nice warm day for it. You're going to need, let's see, socket wrench, a torque wrench that can do 80 inch-pounds of torque, and maybe 2 to 3 beers, depending on personal preference. I think I went with 3 that day. So first thing you're going to want to do is on the right side there, just disconnect that negative terminal to the battery so you don't electrocute yourself. Next, we're going to want to take off that intake on top of the valve cover. There's going to be 3 bolts that we have to remove first. There's one right in front here, right there. Another one on the side, right there, and one in the back, right there. After that, there's a couple hoses and wires. That hose right there you disconnect. This little wire harness right here. This clip that leads to the air filter. This wire back here you'll have to disconnect. That hose right there. And this other clip on the side here to the throttle. So once those are off, you should be able to take that whole unit right off to access the ignition coils, which are going to be the next step. So let's see if we can go around back here. We'll see the ignition coils. Wait for it, wait for it. There we go. Okay. So here's one of 4 ignition coils in the back. You're going to have to take off that little bolt right there and that wire in the back, and then the ignition coil will just pop right out. Here's a picture of what the engine's going to look like once that top piece is off. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 ignition coils, and the other thing that would be good to do too is just cover up the air filter hose and the throttle to make sure nothing gets into that system. So after that, we're going to start removing the bolts for the valve cover. There's one right there, one right there. I think there's 11 total around the outside of it. There's a diagram at the end of the video that'll show you each one of those. You may have to also unclip this wire harness here to access a few of the bolts. They are not necessarily easy to get to. And in fact, I'll show you one in particular that's real difficult to get to in a minute. So the other thing you're going to want to do is pull off a couple other wire clips right there, another one around back. That'll allow you to pull that cover right off. Let's see, this other one hiding down here, right there, and another hose you have to disconnect right there. Now around the back where the PCV valve comes out the top of the valve cover, you've got a little metal pipe that is connected to. And that pipe is in the way of one of the bolts on the valve cover itself, so you're going to have to bend that back. To do that, just disconnect this little hose right here that connects to the PCV valve, and then you'll be able to just bend that pipe right back to access the bolt. So yeah, let's take a look at what this looks like once your valve cover is off. Not a great picture, but at least shows you what you're going to be working with. It's a good opportunity, I guess, to take just a cloth or something and wipe the perimeter of the whole unit there. Here's a picture of the valve cover itself. So you have a gasket that runs in the middle there around all the ignition coils, and then one that runs around this little channel around the perimeter of the cover itself. If you have like a plastic scraper or something, it's a good idea to just scrape away some of the gunk that's built up in there, or remnants of the old gasket, depending on how old it is. So I don't have a picture of the gasket that goes around the perimeter of it, but this is the one that goes in the middle around the ignition coils. So what you're going to want to do is just throw it on a piece of cardboard like that and spray it down with a little spray tack. That'll hold it in place. Once you put it on the valve cover itself, you're going to need to flip it upside down to put it back, and so the spray tack will just hold it in place while you're doing that. So once you have the valve cover back in place, it's just working in reverse order. So you have all your bolts here. Start with A first, then all the bolts around the outside, and then go back to A. Now all those bolts will have to be tightened to 80 inch-pounds of torque. And then the other thing you don't want to do too is put a little RTV silicone in those 2 spots on the corner there, just to seal it up real tight. And then you're good. Like I said, the pipe around back there where your PCV valve connects to, you're just going to have to bend that back so that the hose will reach your PCV valve again. So yeah, thanks for watching. Please comment with any questions or comments. All right, cheers, guys.